Hello and welcome to episode 22 of Total Drama Multiverse Reloaded. This is our final 6 episodes, so let's get into it with our pre-challenge section. Now, our pre-challenge section, it's going to be a lot smaller than it was last time, because last time it was huge, but this time I think that the big thing going on here is Sky and Ash, who have made an alliance since they're on the bottom, have been trying to find a crack here. And now that Tristan's not feeling left out anymore, the only real crack they think they can form is right here between Mel and the Vibe Tribe, the main Vibe Tribe, I mean. So they're going to try to get Mel to be really annoyed, especially with Tristan, just because they know that even if they get Mel, then it's going to be 3 votes versus 3 votes. So they need to be able to take a tiebreaker, and Tristan's obviously way weaker than the other two. Although Tristan is stronger than Tris was at the beginning of the season, that's for sure, especially after what happened last challenge. So yeah, the only other things going on, I think that Tristan doesn't feel like as much of a third wheel because Patrice and Ezekiel have been including Tris more, but Ezekiel and Patrice, they've been just being a cute couple, probably get a lot of cute moments and a lot of disgusting fan art. So yeah, I guess we just go to our challenge section now. This challenge is a pretty good one. I'm pretty sure, yeah, suggested by Twinber Wolves once more. This is going to be Challenge 43, Shots Fired. This is another musical challenge. Our last one, Band Together, was during the last season. And if y'all remember, in that video, I said that if I got 37 likes on that video, then I would actually make those songs without using any AI. They'd be so shit because I have no musical experience or talent. Now, even though Kai did say, everyone like, please, thankfully, I only have 12 likes on the video, but if y'all do actually get that to 37, I will still make them. So please don't. However, that is also going to hold true for today. So if I do get 37 likes on this video, then I will sit through and suffer making these 3 diss tracks. So let's talk about the rules. Characters must work together to trash, roast, and diss their opponents with a rap/diss track, and they sing it to the 3 judges. Now, the 3 judges, I'll bring them up, Lauren, and then the other 2 people that are on the island. I feel like all 3 of these people work pretty well, because one of them's Lauren, who's the host, one of them's Tootie, who has a lot of musical talent, and the third one is Daisy, who really dislikes everyone here except Sky. So, yeah, which kind of means that Daisy could give bias towards Sky, but I guess we'll see what happens. Same with Lauren giving bias to, like, Tristan or Patrice, but I think at this point, Lauren, now that she's the actual host, has stopped giving any bias. And then as for Tootie, he's an actual musical artist, so, and singer. So, obviously, he's just judging it based off that. He does like Ash, but he's not going to be biased. So, now, the contestants can diss anybody left in the game that isn't on their team of 2, and because they do group up in just pairs, and they'll reach the highest score out of 30 points, right? So, they'll be rated out of 10 by each of the 3 contestants, and after they're rated out of 10, that's their final score. So let's talk about who groups up. I think that immediately Patrice and Ezekiel are like, sorry Tristan, but we're staying together. They're like just full on in love, like I feel like this relationship would be really fun to watch. Just 2 survivalists. They'd be like Sprig and Ivy from Amphibia, pretty much. That's kind of who I've had in mind, the ship I've had in mind when I've been structuring these 2. As for Tristan, that only leaves Tristan with going with either Sky, Ash, or Mel, and since I think Sky and Ash would definitely go together since they have their alliance and they're on the minority here, they would actually have a really good scenario of forcing Tristan and Mel together, which both of them have pretty much opposing personalities, right? Mel can come off as rude, she's aggressive, meanwhile Tristan is all like calm and wants everyone to chill out, and yeah, they aren't very compatible. part of the reason why they haven't actually hung out, despite her being an honorary member of the Vibe Tribe. So they're going to hope that they can really get a divide going in between there. But let's talk about who I think each person would actually decide to diss. So I think that the people that Sky and Ash would try to diss is mainly Patrice, also a little bit Ezekiel. I don't know about Tristan or Mel, but I think it'd be mainly Patrice because, as y'all know, Patrice and Sky, they were friends before the game started, but throughout the game they first grew apart. Then after that big argument, stopped being friends entirely. So I think that because of that, not only is Sky going to force Ash to go all in on Patrice, but Patrice is going to force Ezekiel to go all in on Sky. So that's going to be kind of the main event. However, as for Mel and Tristan, I think that Mel would want to get her frustrations out on everybody and piss off everybody, not really thinking properly that maybe that's not a good idea because Patrice and Ezekiel are on her side, and if she pisses them off, they'll probably want her not on the side anymore. So, yeah, she's not really thinking clearly, and Tristan tries to explain that, but I think, especially with Sky and Ash's little comments that they make here and there, mainly Sky, though, I think that Mel would start getting more and more annoyed with Tristan and vice versa, because Tristan wants to obviously be nice to Tristan's buddies, but also doesn't really want to go that hard on Sky and Ash just because that's not who Tristan is. So let's talk about how I think they would approach the actual music. Okay, so I think we'll start, we'll just go in the order I have them here. Sky and Ash, I think they'd probably go with Sky being the main singer, while Ash would probably get a verse, because it'd probably just be like chorus song, it'd be verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus, probably for their song, just a simple song. But it's still like a rap song, right? But it has a chorus, because some rap songs don't have choruses. Then for Mel and Tristan's, I think that Mel, being sick of Tristan, or at least pissed off at Tristan, would probably only give Tris little segments, like maybe not just like ad libs, but only a few lines, maybe part of the chorus, while she would get most of the rap. And then as for Patrice and Ezekiel, well, this is where something a little unfair comes into play. Ezekiel wants to be the #1 rapper. Now, the only time he ever raps in the original show, he's terrible. However, he's had a lot of time to practice and a lot of resources to practice with. So I think that by now he's actually pretty good at it. Paired with the fact that him and Patrice already bounce off each other really well, I think that it'd probably just be like them bouncing off each other like a dual rap. So like he'd say a line, she'd say a line for parts of the song, and then like obviously they'd both probably sing the chorus, stuff like that. So yeah, that's probably how it would go. I just almost fell off my chair. But I think we'll mix up the order. We'll do these ones first. Actually, let's do them last. We'll do whatever. Let's just keep it the same. Okay, so Sky and Ash. I think that Sky and Ash would probably, they start off the song mainly talking about just all of the people that have betrayed Sky, right? But I think that Patrice would definitely get the most damage from the song. I think eventually Ash has his break in the song where he has his verse, and I think on his verse, he'd probably, obviously everyone pretty much wants to diss Daisy, but they can't, especially not him because he's literally with Sky right now. Well, you know what I mean by that. But I think that he'd probably go more in on the Vibe Tribe in general. Like, he'd probably say the Vibe Tribe more like, I don't know. If I ever have to write this, bro, it's going to be terrible. But, Yeah, I think that's probably how it would go. And I think overall, Lauren probably gives this one. I could see her wanting to go a little lower because it's mainly targeted at Patrice and Ezekiel, who really just kind of roll their eyes at it. They're not really too affected. I think from a music standpoint, both of these people would be pretty good. At least the voice because Sky doesn't have a voice in the Fortnite, but the voice I've imagined for her, I think she'd be pretty good at it. And her personality, which is kind of like a little bit more on the tomboy side, I could see. And then as for Ash, I feel like Ash, I mean, he's already got those thug life memes and all that. I feel like he's got it. So I think she probably would go like a 7. Then I think Tootie, going musically, would go like the actual music rap beats, by the way, are just kind of provided. Like they're allowed to choose out of a pool of like 20 of them. Um so that they don't have to make their own music, because that would obviously make it way worse. I think that 2D would probably give it like also, well, probably an 8. So they're at 15. And then as for Daisy, Daisy's obviously got a huge bias towards Sky, and she's not afraid to show it. So I think that just hating everyone else, or knowing she's going to hate everyone else, she gives this one a 10, meaning that they end with a score of 25. Let me put this on the other monitor so that y'all can't see it, but I don't forget the numbers. So they have a score of 25. Then we can move on to Mel and Tristan. And honestly, I think that during this part, Mel would really go really deep in on a lot of people, including Sky, but a lot of people. And I think that she would even go in on Tristan, who's literally her partner, which is against the rules, technically. But they're like, okay, this is kind of interesting. Now this pisses off Tristan, and when it comes to Tristan's part, Tristan decides to just not sing and force them to lose the challenge, as they already would have lost the challenge because of her breaking that rule. But Tristan's like, nah, we're done. I'm just gonna make you lose so that we can hopefully get you out tonight. Because even if they can get Mel out, which Tristan already knows, that if Mel goes down, these two should follow suit. So if they can get Mel out, these three can get Mel out, then that'll just make Tristan's life a lot easier on the island. But yeah, that just leaves Patrice and Ezekiel, which I think that in canon, this song would be fire. It'd be the piggyback of Total Drama Multiverse. Obviously, if I actually make it, it'll be shit, but that's not the point. Patrice, we only ever hear her do like grunts and groans in the actual game because all of her text is on screen. But I think that she'd have a pretty good voice, and then Ezekiel is so much more than he is in actual Total Drama, so I think that he'd be pretty good as well. So I think that these two are going to pretty easily win this challenge. And I know I've said this a lot, but this is actually a shorter challenge. Just a bit of a shorter main episode in general, because we do have quite a few lore bits to get to in our quote-unquote post-credit scenes. But yeah, I think overall, Mel and Tristan obviously through. Sky and Ash was good, but I think that Patrice and Ezekiel would get a 10, 10, and like I don't know, like a 6, because she would admit that it is good, and like how far that they went. Oh, but that actually reminds me of one thing that matters a little more for our post-challenge section. So we need to talk about, we can go up here, Patrice and Ezekiel won immunity, we can go up here, but we need to talk about what Patrice and Ezekiel rapped about. Obviously, these two went in on Patrice and Ezekiel, but when these two, mainly Patrice, went in on Sky, they struck a bit of a nerve, talking about how terrible of a leader she is and how she led both her teams into the dirt. And I think they wouldn't go. I don't think Ezekiel and Patrice or Patrice are mean enough to go with your mom's right kind of line, but they'd get pretty close to it, kind of allude to it. And this would make, they expect Sky to respond with anger, but she just quietly walks off. And I think that later Ash would find her just crying. behind a place because she really is starting to feel like she's not enough and that her mom was right and that she should have never gone on the show. But outside of her being depressed, the only other things that are happening in this post-challenge section is Mel and Tristan, which is perfect for their plan. I think Ash comforts Sky, and as Sky is getting over it, Mel comes up to them and is like, all right, I'm done with the Vibe Tribe. Can we get out Tristan tonight? Because Patrice and Ezekiel already have immunity. And they both smile at each other, and they're like, absolutely. So Mel is done with the Vibe Tribe and is ready for that. Meanwhile, these three want to go for Mel, because Mel is not only most likely going to vote for them as far as they're concerned, but is also just easier to beat in a tiebreaker. Because I think that Mel would be harder than Ash, but they don't really want to go for Ash right now. But easier than Sky. Because, I mean, like, Sky is insanely powerful. She's lucky she hasn't gotten voted out for being a challenge threat yet. Just because she's been able to slip through by people that are way more hated. So I think that overall, when we get to our elimination ceremony, we do get our 3 votes Tristan, 3 votes Mel. And guys, just like our last tiebreaker, I gotta be honest, most tiebreaker scenarios, I don't see a world where Tristan wins, unless it's a fashion design related one. Maybe they could do it. I think I know what they could do. I think this would fit the theme. So I think they both have to do a diss track on each other, just by themselves. Tristan has to do one on Mel. Mel has to do one on Tristan, and it's judged by only Lauren, not 2D or Daisy. Lauren gets to pick. And Lauren, actually no, you know what? I don't think Lauren would get to pick, because I think that Lauren would say she gets to pick, and then Mel would be like, nah, that's bullshit. You're just going to let Tristan win. And then Lauren would be like, fair enough, I'll let 2D pick. So I do think that 2D would be the one that would pick that, since he's the music person. And I think if he's going off of who has the better diss track, he's probably gonna have to go with Mel in most scenarios. Also, he has the secret motivation of getting Tristan out here does help Ash, which is his buddy. So that's also true. But I think that this is going to be the elimination episode for Tristan. Guys, I think we all knew that Tristan wasn't going to win the season. I mean, Trish came back after being eliminated already, but I feel like Tristan is easily one of the main characters of the season. Not only did Trish have a huge amount of matter in the pre-challenge or the pre-merge, but even in the merge, Tristan went on a bit of Tristan's own arc, and I'm really happy with how I used Tristan this season. But yeah, that's gonna do it for this episode. Now that Tristan's gone, I can just say, one boy, one girl. You gotta be rooting for somebody. Because we have 2 guys left, 3 girls left, and not that many episodes left. So, if y'all want any challenge suggestions, y'all can put them in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and I will catch y'all in the next one. See ya. Sasha's army has fought hard, but when you have people like Azuku Midoriya, Monica, Hope, and Jones on your side, and that's not even mentioning Marcy and Anne, who in canon have taken care of these people, mainly Anne. Yeah, no, the Toads are getting kind of cooked, and that comes to a head when Grime isn't killed, but is very badly injured by Jonesy's bionic arm. Grime comes to the place, actually Sasha comes to Grime's place, which is the hospital in Newtopia, and the same one Marcy goes to in canon. And Sasha visits him. And Sasha is not happy. Sasha really cares about Grime, really loves Grime. And she likes her friends, Anne and Marcy. But, like, this pissed her off. So she knows that there's a 3rd temple. There's 1 temple left. They've gone through the Temple of Wit, which was Marcy's temple. They've gone through the Temple of, I don't even know what you would call it, but the one that's Anne's. But there's only 1 left, and that is, according to the prophecy, that is Sasha's temple. So they need to they need to, or well, she needs to go take it before they do, or else she's cooked. And at this point, she's really conflicted, right? Because she hates that she's on the opposite side of this pretty much war, but she's in her mind got to do what she's got to do. So she's just packed up and she's getting ready to go fight the heroes. As the villains plan their main attack, they realize that even with all the power they have, they're going to need some more cannon fodder. And yes, they're saying cannon fodder because in their eyes, most of these people are crazy bitches, literal demons, zombies. Like, these are not good people, right? And then there's also Elmo. But I think that when thinking about anyone else they can grab along the way, Malik has the idea of contacting a certain person you might be a little fond of this season. Well, as y'all know, Malik had his deal with Daisy, where Daisy would be taken in 15 years and have 15 years of freedom and power and all that stuff, right? Well, using the rift gun that they have, Malik sneaks onto the main island and kidnaps Daisy, and then brings Daisy to the place with all the other villains, right, in the final reality. So Malik's like, I have a new deal. Either A, I keep you locked in this reality until your 15 years are up, and then I'll claim your soul, or you join us, the villains, and I call off the original deal entirely, and you will be free after you help us. And not really having much of a choice, Daisy reluctantly, because she's become a little bit of a better person by now, but she does reluctantly decide that she's got to do what's best for her. So, unfortunately, Daisy decides to join the villains. I know I originally said that we had met our final member of the team, but all I really meant is that we had met our final member that chose to be on the team. Who knows? Well, I know, but who knows if there's going to be more or less people after this. Whenever Malik snuck onto the island, everybody knew about it. All the villains did. That's for sure. So one of them actually was watching him do it and looking through the portal. And that happened to be Zombie Wanda. Now, Zombie Wanda happened to notice a figure in the distance. So, wanting to turn it into a zombie, she rushed out of the portal and ran towards it. But turns out this figure was actually someone who had been missing on the island, and Lauren just gave up on finding because in her eyes it really didn't matter whenever she was trying to put all the rivals back. And that person is Zombie Blake. Now, I know what you're thinking. Bro, are you really about to put Blake on the villains team? And to that I say, no, I'm not. What happens is Zombie Wanda crushes Blake as like into a kind of like a square, and she does not do this in canon, but she crushes him into like a square, but using magic keeps him alive. But he's a zombie, so he doesn't really feel the pain. And then she just kind of puts him in her pocket. So yeah, that's pretty screwed up.